right. Hey, welcome and thank you guys for tuning in to the You Didn't Get the Memo show. I'm your host, Gloria Bailey Ray. And as always, got a fantastic, dope show for you. I'm telling you, these two women, they're going to blow your socks off. I know you think you know all that you need to know about real estate and, how I'm supposed to get a loan and all this. But look, I'm just going to tell you, and these women are just heavy hitters. They doing some things. Y'all not hearing me. They are doing some things. And you need to recognize, tell somebody, y'all come on and join us. But let me just remind those of you who are tuning in that You Didn't Get the Memo show is an interactive show. We are both nationally and internationally. And if you have comments for our guests or questions, be sure and place them in the comment section and we'll do our very best to respond to you. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, as well as LinkedIn. And remember, this show is about providing you, the viewer, with relevant fact based mainstream information. All right. And so, listen, gentle reminder, I just want to tell you guys, I also have my own app where my show airs 24/7 on the BTV app. Let me just show you what that looks like. See it. That means that right here, you can download the app and you can watch my show 24/7. So I appreciate you guys being able to do that. But my guest today is Miss Francine Gregory and also Miss Sheila Bennett. And I just tell you, before I bring them on, let me just tell you a little bit about Miss Francine. Now, Miss Francine Gregory has over 18, really 20 years of marketing and advertising. She is a real estate broker owner. Her company, I Life Realty. I look, what can I say? The woman is just smart. She's been around. She knows the ins and outs and the ropes. But listen, something else that she does, and we're going to delve into it and talk about that, is that she is the co-founder of an organization called bizchick.net. Y'all write this down, bizchicks.net. Listen, anything that you want to know as it relates to technology, these women are doing it. As I say, go on and do the dadgum thing. And then my other guest, who is Miss Sheila Bennett, she is a Silicon Valley native. She's passionate about helping families build wealth through home ownership. She brings to the table over 17 years of experience in real estate and mortgage loan. And I know y'all want to know about mortgage loan and mortgage lending because look, I don't care what you say. Some of us are still getting redlined. We're getting loans turned down, all this stuff. Also, Miss Sheila Bennett is the CEO and founder of CPMS Services LLC, which provides a full spectrum of programs and project management consulting services. I'm out of breath, y'all, because I'm just telling you all of these things about these women. But let me just bring them on. Miss Francine and Miss Sheila. Hello, what's happening? Thank you guys so much for being here. I always like to start the show off with asking you to tell our viewers what your backstory is. So let's start with Miss Francine. Miss Francine, tell us a little bit about your backstory. I
All
know
right.
you do it too.
So, with real estate, my backstory is my sister was looking for a house. She had gotten qualified. I wish she'd have known Sheila back in the day, but she got qualified, and the real estate agent was taking her out and helping her buy a home, but she wasn't taking her to homes that my sister wanted to live in. So, I was driving around and around and around, and I found the house that my sister ended up buying, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing the drive-in and looking and all of that. And then when my sister bought the house, I didn't get paid. And I was like, oh, that's not going to happen again. So I subsequently got my real estate license so that I could do that to help people find a home that they are comfortable with, helping them find a place that they can call home and without all of the struggles, because a lot of times we get a lot of people who want to buy a house, but then if there's one little hitch or a glitch or something, the agent doesn't want to work with them, or the lender will say, I'm sorry, we can't do it. And then so we have people who are dejected. But I like going the distance for my clients and helping them find home.
Good. And our topic today, hey, San Antonio, thank you guys for being here, is the fact that we're talking about competition, compromise, and digital marketing, because the world of real estate, as a lot of people have known it has completely changed, So that was one of the other reasons I thought it was appropriate in this high market, housing market in California. We needed to talk about that. So, Ms. Sheila, what's your backstory? Tell our viewers a little bit about who you are. Make sure you unmute yourself.
Thank you. Yes. Well, I was in my 20s when I bought my first home. And I remember talking to a coworker and I thought, I would never be a homeowner. I don't have 20% to put down. I don't even know how I'm going to save 20% to put it down. And he says, you can buy a home. And he said, when he told me that, I said, I can't. How can I do that? I don't have the money. And he put me in contact with someone who made me realize that I had hope. I could do it. And then 6 months later, I was writing a check, putting money down on a new home, and I bought my home. Now, the process wasn't as smooth as I liked it to be, and I could not tell you who my loan officer or real estate agent was. But after I bought that first home, I realized that I wanted other people to realize that there is hope. They could buy a home, and I also wanted that process to be memorable. So a lot of my clients now are return clients. They are not just them, but their family members become my clients. They become like family to me. But it's because of me realizing that it was possible, and not only realizing it's possible, but realizing that people need to know what the process is like, that they can do it, and that they can build a relationship. So now I have relationships with clients all over, and I love helping them. I love making it happen for them and doing my job to save them as much money as possible.
Right. And that's what we need. We all know as Black people, a lot of times, we fear the things that we really don't know, right? And this is where you ladies come in, is talking about, purchasing a home. What's the process? And so let's just start with, let's talk about the state of the housing industry. I can say in 60 seconds or less, because I got a lot of questions for y'all as it relates to loans and lending and, just even researching and looking for a home. So, I don't know who want to take this first, but in your opinion, what would you say is the state of the housing industry today? What do you guys think?
You want to go first, Sheila?
I'll tell you my take on it. Yes, absolutely. I'll jump right in. So the market is still really hot. And although some of the rates are higher than they were during COVID, right? They're back to normal rates. What I'm seeing right now is a little bit of a shift where the sellers aren't as in control as they were at the end of last year or even at the first quarter of this year, but it's still a very healthy market. And I think things are turning around where buyers may have an opportunity to not be outbid on as many homes. And this is the time, if you're a buyer, this is the time to go out there and purchase and get your offer accepted.
I agree. A lot of times people say, I'm just waiting for the market to drop. I'm like, you might not want to do that, because there's no guarantee that it's going to drop. We don't have a crystal ball. We cannot predict the future, but just checking the temperature in the room, it is still a very, very hot market. And so when you don't want to miss out, that's why you find a lending professional that can help you through all of that. Then you find a real estate professional that's going to help you submit the right offer, and so that your offer is accepted. I equate it to being on an airplane. And before, at the beginning of the pandemic, we were going like this and everything was taking off. Now I think we're a little bit at cruising altitude. We're not in a deep dive. We're kind of like at a cruise right now. So it's a good time if you wanted to get in.
You know, a lot of people would be saying they're cringing right now. They're probably pulling their hair out saying, "What do you mean? Don't what? You know, I shouldn't wait. I should just jump in." And we know it's a feeding frenzy. But now, like you said, what we're starting to see is there is a shift. There's not as much. I guess real estate available as what we've seen before. And I just like to look at what's out there. And when I see a home that was built in 1932 and has not had any upgrades, and somebody has decided to knock the basement out, and they're asking for $850,000, you know, you got to say what, what? And so I think that with the right guidance, and that's where you two ladies come in and working in tandem with your clients to help them move along that continuum and realize that, you know what, home ownership is possible. Y'all heard that home ownership is possible. Sheila, I could totally relate to the story that you told. I had a really bad experience with my first time buying a home as a single woman at the time. And the real estate agents, there are two, they're working together, one the loan guy and one the real estate agent. They kept telling me to get this house, and if you get a second on the house, I'm like, we ain't even closed on the house. What are you talking about? So it was just so confusing, and it was a turnoff. And so I can understand that, but I persevered because I actually found an agent who said, tell me what you need. And she listened and she found what it was that I needed. And so when I bought my first home, it was absolutely perfect. So I think that that speaks to itself. But when we talk about the trends that you see, you guys notice I said we need to talk about what's happening digitally, what's going on. So the trends, do you guys see the housing prices really coming back down to an affordable level? Or are things going to kind of stay where they are? With everybody, you know, California is a catch-all state. Come here for everything. You know, we're a sanctuary state for everything. So do you guys see the prices coming down at least a little bit at all?
I don't see them coming down anytime soon because what drives the market is what the consumers are willing to pay. So as long as these consumers are willing to pay the top dollar, it's going to happen. Now, because of COVID, you have more people working from home, working remotely. So they can come from areas that have a higher cost of living, higher salaries, and then they can go to areas that are a lot more affordable and pay top dollar and still save a lot of money from where, you know, like Bay Area people. So if you're coming from the Bay Area and you're buying in Sacramento, even though it's expensive to Sacramento folks, it's still a lot more affordable to Bay Area, and that's still happening. So me personally, I don't see it. I don't see a shift happening just yet.
And I concur. I do not see, like I said, we're at cruising altitude. And people, the buyers, what did they tell us in school? What a ready, able, and willing buyer is wanting to pay, that's driving the market. We may want it to drop, and we may want, I'm just going to wait till the prices fall. Okay. That may not happen.
Wow. Wow. And I think that that's you know, that's the scary piece, and people are still trying to decide what it is, how they need to do it, those kind of things. So let's talk about, and I have to ask this because I have grandkids and kids that are following in this. What advice do you have for millenniums and, you know, the Gen Zs as it relates to buying or renting? Because, you know, a lot of them are just living for today. And in my opinion, when you start to really think about, should they be, because I just read an article that says where more Gen Zs are actually buying like vacation properties, rental properties, or they just prefer to rent as opposed to buy. What are you ladies seeing? What do you think?
I think the Gen Z population, some of them are very, very savvy. They are buying homes, but they're not buying humongous homes. You know, other generations, they want the big sprawling house and the pool and all of that. The Gen Zs are taking a smaller footprint, but they're buying a home. There will be no more earth. You need to buy a piece of land you're not going to have any more dirt, so to speak. And then there's, if you own it, no one can make you move from it. So I'm seeing a lot of my clients with the rental situation where they're in a home, they've been paying their rent for years, they pay their rent on time, but they're being asked to move.
Right, right, right,
It's very uncomfortable, and then it's very uncertain.
right. Sheila, what do you say in regards to that?
I think that the millennials and the Gen Zs need to purchase. It's very important. If you think about, even look in history, right? It's the real estate is the one thing that sustains. Even if the market goes down, it comes back up. But if you own real estate, you're working towards your future. And I think that sometimes the younger generation, they forget that, or they don't quite get it and understand it. So no matter what you're doing, if you look back to when the dot-com crashed, if those individuals, or if some of those individuals purchase properties and they own the property, even with the market crashing, if they own property, they can sell it and they can still sustain. There are a lot of things that are coming into the market now. You got the metaverse, you got all these different trends, and you got this younger generation. They're learning to really take advantage of what's out there. But the one thing that will sustain, that will always pay off at the end, is real estate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Ladies, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, listen, I want us to talk about the competition as it relates to the seller and the buyer. The seller and the buyer. So don't go anywhere, you guys. You got questions? I've got two awesome women who we are talking about the competition. We're talking about real estate. We're talking about lending. We're talking about all of that. So you guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced House Hunter. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
All right. If you guys are just tuning in, you are tuned in to the You Didn't Get the Memo show. And my guest today happens to be Miss Francine Gregory, who is a realtor, real estate broker with her own firm, but also Miss Sheila Bennett as well. And she is the CEO and founder of CPMS Services LLC, but she has over 17 years as relates to experience in real estate and mortgage loans. And before we went to break, I posed the question to the both of them to talk about the competition as it relates to the sellers and the buyers, and then let's just let it morph into how social media is being used in an outreach effort, and in terms of all the things that we see online. Now I can tour a home online, see everything I want to see or not see, and how you guys are using that to connect with whether it's first-time home buyers or people who are looking to upgrade or maybe to downsize. So Sheila, you're here with us. I'll kick it to you and let me know your thoughts.
Okay, so let me hear the second part of that question again. With the downsizing?
Yeah, it had to do with how you guys are utilizing social media as an outreach or online websites to connect with home buyers.
So I'm not really big on posting a lot on social media with regards to the business. However, my clients do a lot of posting. And so when I do a great job, my clients are posting and they're sharing their experience, they're sharing who I am. But what I'm doing from that is I'm actually connecting with more clients. So I'm getting a lot of leads from that. But I am also paying attention, even though I'm not doing a lot of posting. I'm reading a lot, and I'm seeing watching how the market is shifting. There was a post by an appraiser who is a market specialist in the Sacramento area, and he posted on Twitter about how the market is changing and how if you were a seller and you were looking to sell your house in between January and March, or list your house, how the market was really hot and the seller could have asked for anything. They could have asked for 60-day rent back at no cost, right? They could have asked for 25 or 50,000 over the asking price. However, in April, when the interest rates went up, that's when everything shifted. And now it's actually coming to where the sellers don't have as much control, and the sellers are being a little more, I'm going to use this term for lack of a better one, but they're a little more humble now. Now they're a little more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I'm watching other posts. I'm reading the posts. I'm learning to stay on top of what's going on in the market by following some of the experts, and also sharing my experience with experts, other experts.
Okay. All right. And I'll say to the viewers, I know that you guys, I see your questions, and I'm going to let Miss Francine answer the question that's on the table. And then I will actually share, your questions with them and allow them to answer. So Miss Francine, you're up. Thoughts?
Okay, so thoughts with between the buyer-seller dynamic and how social media is playing all into that. Is that correct? So the dynamics between the buyer and seller, I do believe that, like Sheila said, that the sellers are being a little bit more open.
Humble.
Yeah, humble and open. They're not being so rigid and, well, I'm just going to take that. We still see some of those type of sellers, and hopefully my sellers listen to me when I say we need to listen, because we want to be able to, I think I was in one of my buyers who had been shopping for months. The seller, she just recently got into contract, but the seller was really, she got outbid. But the seller wanted to give it to somebody who was a first-time home buyer. And I thought that was really great. That doesn't happen a lot, because why not go with the highest? But some sellers are not going with the highest.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of leading with their heart, and they're looking at different things and not necessarily going for the money.
Right.
Although they could. And then as far as online goes, right. I do get some referrals from online, and I do, like Sheila, we stay tuned in to other professionals in the arena of real estate, so we can know what's happening, what's going on. But I also like to put out information to keep my former clients. There are tools that maybe are not out on social media. I do put some things out, but most of the time, the tools that I use that are digital are to help my former clients, my past clients, my current clients keep up with what's happening. Whatever I learn, they learn, so that they know what's happening, and because I want them informed.
Right. I think that's great. For the both of you, we got a couple of comments. First of all, this one, Ms. Curlin was asking, what about forming an LLC for real estate investment? And I don't know which one of you would like to respond to that. What are your thoughts?
Sheila?
I'm gonna comment on that. When you're forming an LLC, just remember, an LLC does not prevent you as an individual from being on the mortgage. So if you're still going to have a mortgage and you're filing or forming an LLC, you still have to back it with your personal credit report, and you have to be on the loan. You can change the title into the LLC. There are some lenders that have some programs where you can look into getting it closed in LLC, but it's very rare to find those. So you'd have to do your homework on that, but just keep that in mind. But I think if you can do it, just have someone listed as that person who's going to be the guarantor on the loan.
Yeah. Okay. Another question from one of the viewers is, so is worth purchasing in a new upcoming community or already established neighborhood? I think the question is, so is it worth purchasing in a newer community or should you look at an older home?
This was interesting because I had a client who was looking at older homes, but could not find what she was looking for. She was looking and looking, and we just about get it. She got outbid. We found something else that she was willing to go in, but it needed too much work. So she ended up going with a new home build. Um, and the new home build was great. It met all of her needs. Now, if the new home build can meet your needs and your monetary needs, then it's fine. But some of the new home builds, just like the resales, the prices were hiking up. And you would think every time there's a new, like they have a new, what is it I'm looking for? The word is when they have a new release, the price goes up like maybe $10,000.
Yeah, I like a new development in that. Yeah, release.
Every time the same development, but a new release, meaning, okay, we sold out all of these lots. Now we have another lot, and then the price goes up because there's a new release.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
So if you don't get in on the first one,
Yes.
Lori, do you mind if I add on to that? Because I totally agree with Betsy.
Absolutely. I mean,
Let me add on to
that's
that.
the way to do here.
I just closed on a new home. So the reason I want to add on to that is that if you've never bought a home before and a new home is your choice, your preference, just keep in mind that there are a lot of things that don't come with a resale home or older home that you're going to have to do out of pocket, right? The backyard is usually not done at all. So you got the expense of the backyard, and there are new homes that you're paying for upgrades, or you got to have standards. So if you want a certain type of tile on the floor or wood on the floor, a lot of times it's going to cost a lot more if you go through the builder. So some of the costs for a new home are a lot more expensive than with the resale home. So I always tell clients, it's a preference. It's all a preference. I don't think there's one that's better than the other. But if you have the money to buy a new home and you have money to put into updating, not necessarily updating, but adding on to the backyard or adding on to maybe the walls, getting the paint done, there's some things that you're going to have to do out of pocket, then go for it. But if you find a resale home that has the things that you like, that might work out better and it can save you money. So it's really about, what do you have money to spend on?
Right.
Exactly. Right. And you are going to come in because there's the electrical package, there's the flooring upgrade. I don't want carpet. I want laminate flooring throughout. Okay, so that's going to be another expense. Well, I want the wood shade cabinets, and I want all of those things are a tick up on the price.
Yeah. And let's not forget, we definitely got to have the warmers in the floors on the tiles so that when I step out of the shower, my floor is warm, is heated, which of course that brings in some other things as well. So, the ladies all said, thank you guys so much for your response. And you guys are very welcome. You are tuned in. Listen, I'm telling you, get the information, get it from, as they say, the horse's mouth. These ladies know. So let's get real. They want to help you. They want to make sure that you make the best possible decision. And one thing, both Sheila and Francine, that you guys said, a lot of times when you're buying an older home and you're teeter-tottering between how much money you really have to spend, you also have to be able to make that determination. Do I really need to get these shaker cabinets right away? Or can we sand down and restain and do some things? And so there's so many things. People just think I'm moving to a new house, a new development, and that's that. And the one last thing is a side note: moving to a new development, y'all listen, some of these places with HOA fees, that ain't no joke. So we didn't even, I'm just throwing that out there. Somebody probably saying, what's the HOA fee? But I'm just going to tell you, you into an area where there's a homeowners association, you need to be aware of that. But let's move on. Let's get into talking about, because I know some of the people who are tuned in, they want to know. Let's talk about the difference between pre-approval versus pre-qualified. I came up with where, oh, I got a pre-approval letter. And I recently was told, they don't want you to just be pre-approved. They want you to be pre-qualified. So who wants to take that on?
That is definitely a lender question. I'm going to say this. I don't take buyer shopping without a letter from Sheila or any other lender I work with.
Okay, y'all heard that.
I'm not taking you shopping. You go nowhere.
Okay.
I don't have, and Sheila is very thorough. I've worked with her for a few years, and if I get an approval letter from Sheila, I know I'm good to shop. If she says, well, wait a minute, let me check on some stuff, I'm like, okay, well, we'll make an appointment when I get a letter.
Okay,
So-
Sheila.
Okay, so let me tell you
give us the real skinny. Give us the 411.
So the difference is it's actually the pre-qualification letter is not what you want. So on a pre-qual, they're just saying you can tell the lender, I make X amount of dollars. This is what, I make this amount of money. This is what my taxes look like. This, you can give them whatever information. They're pre-qualifying you based on the information that you provided. But on a pre-approval, which is what I do not issue a pre-approval unless not only am I checking the credit report, I'm checking the credit report. I'm doing verification of employment to verify what the true qualified income is, because I can get a pay stub and a pay stub will not tell the whole story. Because when you get into escrow and the underwriter is reviewing that file on the income, if you're paid hourly, I can't just say, oh, your pay stub shows 40 hours a week, because if I can't prove that you're working 40 hours every week, then we're going to figure out your income based on what's called a variable income. And if you're not getting a pre-approval where they're verifying your income, they're checking to see if you owe taxes, they're checking to see if you have child support payments, and they're adding in all the liabilities, they're checking your assets. I don't want you to tell me how much money you have in the bank. I want to see how much money you have in the bank. I don't want you to send me a letter or a statement from your retirement saying that you have 150,000 in there when only 50,000 is available. I need to know what are the terms of withdrawal so I can see how much of this money can you actually use. So when we go through, my team, we go through and we fully pre-approve you and vet you out so that when you get into escrow, we don't have the surprises of all of a sudden something comes up that we weren't aware of.
Yeah. So for those, I can just remember back in the day, people who were business owners, and in particular, let's just say, no knock, guys, against hairdressers and barbers, but at the same time, one of the things is, I love what Sheila is saying, is because if your income and it's not verifiable, here's the other thing: you get into a home and you end up being foreclosed on after 6 months, and so nobody wants to have to deal with that. And I think that everyone should be appreciated to have someone, a lender, who's basically, they are checking under every rock, every stone, everything as it relates to, what you have and what you're bringing to the table.
Let me add too, Gloria. Also, self-employed people, it's a totally different process, because you don't have a pay stub. I'm looking at your taxes, and it's a totally different way to do it. And one of the things that's really important is that when you choose a loan officer that you're working with, make sure that loan officer understands how to qualify or pre-approve you as a self-employed person, because we're looking at more than we're not looking at your gross income on your taxes. We're looking at, your net income, and we're averaging it. And if there's depreciation on your Schedule C on your taxes, we have to make sure that Schedule C was for more than 1 year, and then we can add that back in. There's so much that we need to do But one of my specialties is helping self-employed, because as a self-employed person myself, the one thing that we do most, and we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot, is that we take advantage of the tax of being able to write off expenses. And then all of a sudden, you know, I've seen people where they made 350,000 gross, and then their net income for the year on their taxes as a self-employed person was only 25,000. Well, you take 25,000, or maybe let's say 24,000, and divide it by 12, that's only 2,000 a month of income. So we have to, so I like to guide my self-employed clients and explain to them, this is how you get approved as a self-employed. I have gotten more self-employed folks in homes over the last 2 years because the light bulb went off, and I said, I got to help them, because there's too many where we're making the money and we weren't qualifying because we were just writing off too much. And also educate the tax preparer, so that sometimes a tax preparer is only focused on saving you money on your taxes, but then you can't do anything after you save. So there's two parts to that, but it's really important.
Yeah, thank you so much for clarifying and bringing that out. I just think about the fact that a lot of times people aren't aware, and just what you said, they think, oh, I've got all this write-off. You know, they're pushing around an expensive car. Well, I get to write that off, but there's so many other things that you have to look at. So, and notwithstanding, you know, Uncle Sam, if they decide that they want to audit you, you want to make sure that all your ducks are in a row. But ladies, look, we're going to take another quick break. But when we come back, here's the thing. I want you to talk about any, you know, what programs, if any, are available to home buyers, you know, home assistance programs. I don't know if that's what you call them or not. And talk about what the average loan processing time is. So guys, keep your questions coming. We're having a great dialogue with both Ms. Francine Gregory and Ms. Sheila Bennett. And I'm telling you, get all of your questions in, get your information now. All right. So we'll be right back. Don't you guys go anywhere.
Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
My grandfather was a case in that study. He worked as a firefighter where the Tuskegee Airmen trained. He and I were phenomenally close. The syphilis study happened for 40 years. Penicillin was found to be the most effective treatment, but the men were denied the treatment. Interestingly enough, I've had someone tell me that they were concerned about getting the vaccine because of the syphilis study. And I always, try to educate or provide some information about what happened. But then I said, you're talking about something that happened to my family. And I've taken both of my vaccines. I'm doing this for them. Health is greater than wealth, and it's really up to us to take ownership of our health and this story.
All right, if you guys are just tuning in, we're having just an awesome dialogue with Miss Sheila Bennett and also Miss Francine Gregory. So we've got someone that is knowledgeable in loans, loan processing, someone that's knowledgeable in real estate, both of them. And guys, this is a time right now with the real estate market being the way it is for you to be informed. Remember, that's what You Didn't Get the Memo is about, providing you, the viewer, with relevant fact-based information to help you be informed and make informed decisions. Before we went to break, one of the questions that I posed to my guests was, are there any available programs out there for home buyers, especially if they're first-time home buyers, or let's just say someone who has not, they may have owned a home in the past, and it's been 20 years, 25 years, and they decide they want to buy a home. So the first one is, are there any types of loans that are available out there for people who are wanting to buy homes? I don't know which one of you would like to take that.
So yeah, there are so many different programs that are available. There are first-time homebuyer programs, some that offer down payment assistance, some that don't. There's FHA, which is a federal program. There's conventional, USDA, another federal program, VA for veterans. There are tons of programs. Uh, there are also for people who are not legal residents, right? Alien. There's the ITIN program. So I would definitely, if someone is looking to get pre-approved and they're trying to find out what program it is, what program works best for them, it's best to submit your loan and let's see. For self-employed, I mentioned self-employed folks earlier. If they do want to buy and they don't want to wait to file their taxes again, there's bank statement loans where we go off of the bank statements and not the tax return. So tons of programs available.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Francine, you have anything to add to that as the realtor slash broker? Is there anything that you do in regards to that or anything else to add? You're muted. Yeah.
I would tell you to my clients, I would tell them, make sure you do what Sheila tells you to do, or your loan officer or whoever you're working with. Follow those instructions, especially with the different loan programs that are out there. Yes, there are programs, but do they fit for you? We got to have them fit for you. And be, what would I say? Be prepared to bring something to the table. I think I just need to say that again. Be prepared to bring something to the table. Don't think.
I hear you. Come on, come on.
Free money is not free.
I'm laughing, but it's what's the word? I don't know. Do they use it? What's the hookup? You got a hookup for me? I can see them saying to Sheila, "Do you have a hookup? What's the hookup for me?" Look,
they all want to hook up, and here, this is what I don't get. People want to hook up when it's time to purchase a house, but they'll come up with $5,000, $10,000 to buy a car. They'll come up with the money to rent an apartment, right? If somebody tells you we need the security deposit, the first month's rent, and last month's rent, you'll come up with the money. But there are people out there when it's time to purchase their home that's going to pay them back. They don't want to put in $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000. But if the less you put in, the less skin you have in the game, the more it's going to cost you. So, if you're serious about it, then set a goal and work towards it.
Right. Absolutely. So what's the average processing time for someone that is now at that point where they have a loan and, they're moving into that? What's the processing time for their loan to get approved?
I always tell people that the time it takes is how quickly they're able to respond to the things that I need. So if we're working together, I'm going to respond as quickly as I can. If I give them a list of documents, tax returns, pay stubs, bank statements, and they get everything to me, usually within the next couple of days, I can have their pre-approval done. But there are times when people will draw out that time, and that's what makes the process longer. Now, once I do the pre-approval and they find a home, then the escrow usually is between 21 to 30 days, unless there are some hiccups. But you're looking at once you get pre-approved and you find your home, you can probably be in your home within a month.
Yeah.
Right.
So, how far in advance, ladies, would you, if you're working with someone, should they get a pre-approval for a mortgage? Is there like a time frame, like Francine, somebody comes to you and say, I want to buy a home, and that for you, they must have, that solid gold piece of paper for them actually being qualified to get a loan. So, how far in advance should they look at that if they're really serious about they want to purchase? Is there a time frame?
Well, it depends on how quickly they want to move into a home. So if they're looking to get into a home within the next 90 days, they need to go get the golden ticket from Sheila, do whatever she has. See, here's the thing. You need a game plan when you're purchasing a home. You need to have a solid game plan. You need to have a coach that's going to help you through that. That would be me, and that would be Sheila. Our job is to help you get the home that you're looking for, or as close to it as possible. But that means you're going to need to hear us when we say, okay, we need this, 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 and this. And it doesn't have to take long at all. Everything is pretty much on the buyer up until the point, it's pretty much on the buyer. If you want something 90 days out, you need to get pre-qual now, because if we have to come up against multiple offers and things of that nature, and sometimes you don't pick the first house is not normally the one that you're going to get in contract with.
Right. Okay.
And I wouldn't allow that. I would say, let's take a look around and see what you like, because I need to find out. I need your eyes to sparkle when we find the house. Like, oh, this is okay. No, we keep shopping until I'm like, yes, this is the one. Then we start moving. Not like, oh, that's okay. Oh, no, because you will never say, Fran, just put me in any old kind of house.
And trust me, I believe that there is no question at all about that. But I want to go back to something, Sheila, that you were talking about, how you treat, people who are, entrepreneurs or business owners, that type of thing. But here's the question for all of them, whether they work for somebody or work for themselves. Ladies, lay it out about credit, the importance of credit. What should their credit score look like? I mean, let's keep it real here, because here's the thing. Somebody who not thinking that, what, they wrote off, not realizing, oh, they wrote off, this is a bad debt, so it doesn't matter. This is not going to show up. And Sheila alluded to, like she's crawling up under rocks and stuff. She's digging out some stuff. But, for our viewers, let's really talk about the importance of credit and, what you look at. Because I don't know if somebody with a credit score of 250 can actually get a home.
Francine,
before Sheila jumps in here on this, I'm gonna tell you can buy a house without a loan, but it's a hard road to go.
Okay, right.
We can do it. It can be done, but it's not going to be an easy thing to do.
Okay.
So if you're going to get financing, you need to have your stuff together. Is that a nice way of saying that? You need to have all that stuff together. And if it's not together, get with Sheila and she'll put together a game plan to help you get there if you're not there.
Right.
Well, Francine, I was going to tell them to get with you. If this.
Sure. We can go shopping for a house with no money. Okay.
Yeah. And of course, I know they say cash is king, but I think that there would be some parameters. And somebody came up and said, I have $600,000 cash. I want to buy a house outright. I don't know if either of you would be jumping at that, because like $600,000 cash. Oh, okay. I know for me, I have all kind of red flags. I'm like, I don't know what I want my name associated with. Go on, Francine.
Well, there is something, because they've just changed some laws and stuff, and people want paper trails. You can't just come up and pull the money out from under the mattress and say, I'm going to buy something. I'm like,
Let me tell you, I have a client now. I'm licensed to do real estate, but I focus on loans, and Francine knows when I have most of my transactions, I'll send them over to Francine, but a family friend asked me to put her house in the market. We got 2 offers, and they were all like about $700,000, and both of the offers were cash. And this just happened within the last week. And I sat there and I thought to myself, now who's sitting around with $700,000 cash? But there are people out there with cash. I think it's for the escrow company to figure that out, where that cash is coming from, if that's who even vets them out. But cash is great. but credit is more realistic as to what people need. They're going to need a loan. Most people, right? The average person needs a loan. And here's the deal: the lower your credit score, the higher your rate, and the higher your rate, the higher your monthly payment. So I've seen situations where it's two people, two different credit scores buying the same amount of house, putting the same amount of money down, and there's a difference of $400 or $500 a month because one person did not take care of their credit and the other one did. It's so important to take care of your credit. And I tell people, like, rule of thumb, first thing is your revolving debt, your credit cards that you can pay down, you can use, you can pay down and use again. Well, those you want to keep under 30% of the available credit, not available credit, but of the limit, right? If you keep your balance down, that can help your score. Pay your monthly bills on time. Do not get a 30-day late. And if the minimum payment is 25, pay 50. If it's 50, pay 100. But always pay more than the minimum payment. And here's the kicker.
Okay.
I had one guy who tried to buy within the last month, and I said, how's your credit? He said, I have excellent credit. I said, oh, great. He goes, because I don't have any credit. No credit is bad credit because you have not built up any credibility. So you have to think about that. So it is very important to get credit. Even if you don't like debt, pay it off. But you have to build up that credit, and you have to build it up over a period of time. So I tell some of my clients, when they're building their credit, sometimes you have to become an authorized user on someone else's credit. So, and I'll give you a quick example and then I'm going to shut up. But my children, when they become 18, or when they're all over 18 now, but the moment they turned 18, each one I added on to at least 3 of my credit cards. By the time they were 18 and a half, 19 years old, they had 700, 800 scores. And at first I was told by someone, don't do that. They need to learn to build it on themselves. But now we're talking about generational wealth. And what we're doing is we're giving them a head start, and we want to train them. So I'm going to show you that what this credit is going to do for you. So if you want to go out and buy a car, you have established credit, even though you piggybacked on my credit. But don't only just add them on as an authorized user, but train them about credit. Teach them on how to keep their balances down, how to pay things off, pay them, and use it, right? So that you're showing that when you do have a balance, you can still maintain. So the most important thing that I like to tell people is you need to build your credit. You have to have credit. No credit is bad credit.
Yes, yeah, and excellent. I know that for a fact with my grandchildren, their parents did the same thing. So here they are at 23, 22, 18, and they've got almost 800 credit scores, and those are the things. So that's an excellent tip. So y'all hear this. I saw you, Louise, and one of our viewers actually said this is why. Very interesting. Let me see if I can get it up. Subject matter. This is the reason I like to watch and listen to programs like this. And so it's the value. That we're bringing. Hey, ATL, I see you in the house. Great advice. Those are the things. And so these are the things that we need to know and we need to teach. And I love the word generational wealth. You're absolutely right. So thank you so much for saying that. And I knew this is a big subject for us to cover. So now look, this is fast firing right here. All right. So let's talk about, how do you ladies set yourself apart? Now, the two of you are working as a team, pretty much. But what is it that you do that makes you different, from everyone else?
Okay, I'll start because I'm going to take the time to make sure you understand the process. I'm not going to just buy you any old house or just put you in any old house. I'm not check first. I'm not commission first. I am client first. My client needs come above my own. We do a lot of things in our company to make sure our clients are taken care of. One of my clients was, she was having a difficulty. She needed to sell her house. And the only thing that she at a time where she needed to sell the house, but she can only offer $10,000 commission on a $600,000 house. So the other agents were like, is that correct? You're only giving $5,000 commission, and they were like, well, good luck with that. Well, somebody did buy the house, and they took the commission at the $5,000, and I took a $5,000, but she is now a lifelong client because I helped her out when she needed help.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
Some people are not going to do that.
Right. Sheila, what say you? Any comments or thoughts about that?
I'm a numbers person. And so what I think that differentiates me from a lot of other loan officers is that I come from a background. I used to do computer programming. My degree was initially computer science, but I'm like really big on making sure not only that I listen to my client, but I try to keep as much of their money in their pocket. And I'm very strategic with finding a way to make it happen no matter what. So when I have clients that say, I'm going to give you one example, and this is where the numbers come in. I had a client who said, I want to put $80,000 down. They had just sold a home and they wanted to take the proceeds from the sale of their home to put down on another house because they had a goal in mind for the monthly payment. So I'm thinking, so the reason you're putting $80,000 down is to get your payment to X? And they said, yes. And I said, what about if you put $40,000 down, you buy down the rate with an extra $5,000 down, and we get your payment to where you want? Are you still interested, or are you set on putting $80,000 down? Not only was I able to get them in that home and keep an extra $35,000 in their pocket, but we were able to also pay the mortgage insurance as a part up front, so that they didn't have a monthly mortgage insurance. And part of the reason they wanted the $80,000 down is because they thought, we don't want to pay the PMI. Some people have heard of PMI. They didn't want to pay it. But strategically, I listened to them and I said, the goal is to get their payment where they want, to eliminate the MI. So instead of them coming out the pocket, let's go this route. So I was able to work the numbers. They paid the mortgage insurance up front. They bought down the rate, and they saved money, and they got to keep the money in the pocket. Yeah. So that's me. I love to get strategic and figure out a way to make it happen.
Oh, that's awesome. So here's another question while I have you here. Let's talk about what happens, because at times, sometimes a person's loan, an underwriter actually denies a loan. So what can be done if an underwriter denies a client's loan? And then what are some of the reasons that a loan may be denied?
Sometimes things come up that we're not privy to. And I'll give you an example. I had a guy who he had a student loan that that went into default back in 2006. It was no longer on his credit report. As loan officers, we're not able to access federal delinquencies up front. Like, there's something that's a part of the process where the underwriter can run what's called a CAVERS report. So when he was buying a house going FHA, during the process, they came up with a CAVERS report that said that he was default on a student loan. He said, it's not on my credit report, but you cannot get a federal loan when you are delinquent on a federal debt. So the underwriter came back and they declined the loan. So that's one of the reasons that it could be declined. But for me, when I see that it's declined, then I find an alternative. With this particular buyer, what I did is I did my homework and said, okay, even though it was declined FHA, we can switch it to conventional. And with conventional, can we still get it done? Yes. So he was able to close. So sometimes when you're in a loan and an underwriter declines a loan for whatever reason, and maybe it's things that come up later that you don't see and you cannot predict. But what I can do as a mortgage broker is I have over 40 lender partners, or actually 80 lender partners. Then what I do is I may switch it to a different type of loan, a different lender partner that has a program that will work. It may mean a little bit higher interest rate, so it's not necessarily a traditional loan. But what I like to do is not give up. I will work with my lender partners. I will pass on a loan and say, hey, do you have a program that works? Let's get them in a house, because at the end of the day, that's the goal. So it's really about finding out what the issue is and then pivoting, making the adjustments to get them in their home.
Mm, okay. Oh, that is awesome. That's some good stuff. Let me just share with you guys uh, some of the comments all the way. Hey, I know you down in Georgia, but Carol, thank you. Everything these ladies are saying are true, and they just recently relocated um, to another state, and so this is great. Miss Carolyn says great advice. So the information is just so critical. So here's my question to the both of you. And Miss Francine, I'm going to kick it with you first. Is what do you want people who are watching the show to take away today? And at the same time, I need you to give a blurb because we got into this. But y'all, I started out, if you're just now tuning in, Miss Francine is a co-owner of Biz Chicks, and you guys will see me put that up there. And I'm telling you, you need, if you are not, I was in on yesterday. After listening to this sister, I'm like, dang, I went and wrote not one, but 2 blogs that I didn't even have to think about, didn't even take me 5 minutes. And so the information that you ladies are sharing as it relates to tech is so cool. So let's start with telling our viewers, 60 seconds about what BizChick is, how they can join and tune in. And then what do you want the viewers as it relates to the real estate piece that we're talking about to take away?
Right. So bizchicks.net in a nutshell is we help you take the hassle out of your hustle so that you can build a profitable business that's fun to run. We do workshops, we have masterminds, we do a lot of different things. We keep technology in your arena so that you'll know how to do your business. And so that's what we do for BizChicks. And you can reach us at bizchicks.net. There is no cost to become a part of BizChicks. You just go to bizchicks.net and you can go right on in and become a part of the community. Everybody needs a coach, they need a cheerleader, and they need a community in order to help your business grow. So that's what we do for BizChicks. On now for real estate, if you are looking for someone that's going to put your needs first and come to help you put a game plan together, whether you're buying or selling, you need someone that's going to come up with strategies to help you do it, then that means you can contact me as well. You can call me at 916-410-4995, send me a text or call me, or you can visit the website at iLife, or let me use the fgregoryestates.com. So that will show what we've been doing. But if you like to buy or sell, I have a free book, a buyer's guide, and I have a seller's guide if you want some information.
Yeah. So Francine, real quickly, is there a specific area that you cover?
I like working with buyers. I work with a lot of sellers too, but somebody needs to hold the buyer's hand through the process. Mm-hmm. Somebody needs to, it's not an easy thing. The buying or selling real estate can be really, really complicated. So if it's your first time buying or your first time selling, I can help maneuver you through that so that it's a more pleasurable experience.
Okay, awesome. All right, Miss Sheila, you're up. So tell the viewers what it is that you want them to take away, because I already know. I know all y'all are asking questions. I know some of you are looking to buy home. So look, y'all need to get in contact with Miss Sheila. All right, so go.
So what I want to say is first, find you a real estate agent and a loan officer who's going to go to bat for you and is going to fight really hard for you. And I gotta give a shout out in my 60 seconds. I gotta give a shout out to Francine. There are times when we have clients that we're working on together. She's representing them on the real estate side. Me, I'm doing the loan, and they're ready to give up. And Francine will never give up on the clients. She motivates me to keep going when things are getting tough. Things show up. Someone messes up their credit or quits their job in the middle of the escrow. And we make a way out of no way. So I would say, find someone who actually has your best interests at heart. They're going to go to bat for you until the end. They're going to get strategic as possible. but at the same time, they're going to just really look out for you and treat you as if they would treat their own family. So that's really important. One of the things that I want you to know is that as a as a loan officer, that like I really truly care about my clients, and I may not be for everyone. I want to work with people who want to work with me. And I think that's really important. If it doesn't feel right, then you find the person that's going to work for you. But once we're connected, I'm going to take care of you. And it's really important. But again, find a team. You want to work with a really good loan officer, really good real estate agent who knows the market, who understands and someone that's really going to listen. And I think that's, and I'll say this for Francine, even though she didn't say it for herself, but that's what differentiates Francine from other realtors that I've worked with. She really, really listens, and I feel that I do the same thing. And so we're gonna take care of you.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say too, the both of you ladies, first of all, when I met Francine, I was actually a guest on Biz Chicks, and I was just so impressed with the caliber of people and the people that she has on, but what she does. And, to me, when you're doing great things, you don't need to toot your own horn. You know how that goes. And Francine, when I reached out to her, before I could get the words out of my mouth, she was like, "Oh, well, you got to have Sheila on the show as well." And that to me is what it's about. Sisters supporting sisters, women really helping women. And that's the thing and the takeaway. So I want to thank the both of you for being here. Guys, if you need anything else, and if you missed, I see some people saying they were late getting on, go back and watch the entire show to get the full, depth of what it was that we were talking about. I guarantee you it's going to help you. I'm going to say to both you, Sheila, and to Francine, whatever you do, don't hang up. I'm going to come back to you, so don't go anywhere, okay? All right. To you, the viewer, I want to first of all thank you guys for so much for being here, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I hope that what you heard today is inspirational, is informational, educational, and that you will be able to go out and to do something with this information. I want to remind all of you to be sure and follow me on all my social media pages and mark your calendars for every Tuesday at 5 p.m. for always a great show. You didn't get the memo. I also invite you to add you didn't get the memo to your calendar, so you don't have to think about it. Some people say I forgot. Add it to your calendar, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I tell you, if you miss an episode, you can always go back and look at it. Look at the replay. I want you to know that I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you for your support, your love, and for tuning in. Be sure to follow me on all my social media pages, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I'm all over. It's always a blast, you guys. Like I said, every show is a great show. But as I always say to you, if you didn't take anything away from today's show, then it's really you who didn't get the memo. So I want to leave you with this. Fear and faith can't live together. Walk by faith. Until this time next week, I want you to have a wonderful week. Give thanks for all your blessings. Stay safe. And always remember, walk by faith. I'm your host, Gloria Bailey Ray. I'm out.